Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my desktop. Today, completely all our webinar will be about cryptocurrency mining. So, main question: what is cryptocurrency mining? So, first of all, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. To do this, you should click subscribe to the video. And don't forget to click the bell to always be aware of new streams and videos. So, what is mining? Yes, what's definition of cryptocurrency mining? In other words, mining is an integral part of cryptocurrency network that performs two important functions. First, it's used to generate or realize new cryptocurrency tokens for circulation via the cryptocurrency network. And secondly, it's used to verify, authenticate, and then add the ongoing network transaction to a public ledger. So one of the important question: how cryptocurrency work with Bitcoin? So Bitcoin is indeed any other cryptocurrency is based on the principle of using a peer-to-peer network. It means the emission of coins or tokens, which in rough translation means coin occurs by computing encrypted blocks. So BTC is assessed via its own network, so that transactions are completely transparent to all project participants, such as or even if the Bitcoin file is located in the cold stores as a file on the computer, copying this file will lead to nothing. That is simply by forging the cryptocurrency is impossible. There is an opinion that interfering with the function of the network and creating coins from nowhere, if possible, requires the application of titanic crack efforts. So plus hacking can be almost instantly tracked. Maybe you asked why? Because issue Bitcoin in contracts to printing paper money is strictly limited by the size of the network itself. In all, there are 21 million tokens, and potential shortage of tokens is compensated by the fact that the coin can be broken up to almost infinite values. For instance, you can send boss, and boss I mean 1 and 0.01 and even 0.0001 BTC. So that is the scaling of cryptographic tokens as a means of payment is not due to the issue of new banknotes, but due to the fragmentation of existing ones, because they are located exclusively in the digital space and aren't limited to physical execution. Cryptographic tokens can be stored not as an online file, but as a separate file on any medium. This approach also imposes some limitation. For example, if the storage devices, cold storage with the Bitcoin file has failed, then these coins will be lost forever and can't be restored. So this system, together with a pre-known number of BTCs or any other cryptocurrencies in circulation, makes it more secure from forgery or, for instance, from the unfair policy of a conditional central bank. So in addition, conditional emission, which is called mining in the environment of cryptographic tokens, is dealt with again not by any regulated body, but the by the network participants themselves. So to get one coin, a network user using his equipment must produce complex calculation of the cryptographic signature of the block by a special algorithm that is simply provided machine time. At the dawn of Bitcoin, its extraction was possible on ordinary home computers, but the developers of the technology also provided for the mechanism of regulation of the cryptocurrency. Each subsequent block requires more calculations than the previous one. At some point for home mining, it becomes necessary to buy more powerful equipment after specialized. As a result, Bitcoin has been extracted either by specialized companies that optimize everything from equipment to geography for the sake of saving on electricity, or so-called pool of miners. So what about pools of miners? Pools are a kind of collective network of many individual miners whose computing powers are summed up with the subsequent division of the extracted coins among all pool members in proportion to the contribution. Also, small farms can be pooled in the production of cryptographic tokens. This process is based on a cryptographic theory called POW. It means proof of stake or work confirmation. So proof of work, yes. For confirmation, bitcoins are received only by those computation participant who will calculate the cryptographic signature of the block. And mining cryptocurrency is difficult, and the fact that not every block contains a signature. To find the tight block, you need to decipher a lot of dummies, and the complexity of calculations is constantly increasing. Another limit is added to the Bitcoin network, which increases the prime cost of mining. Every 4 hours, the reward for a unit until with a cryptographic signature is halved. At the start in 2009, for the right block, the miners received 50 BTC, 50 Bitcoins. In 2013, 25 Bitcoins. And on February 18th, 2017 years, the compensation for the blocks fell to 12.5 Bitcoin, and this process will continue. So almost all this is applicable not only to Bitcoin, but also to altcoins, alternative cryptographic tokens, which begins to appear after BTC. Some of the authors decided to modify the system proposed by Satoshi Nakamoto, who preferred POW, so proof of work, to other ways of regulation and extraction. What more about POW? Over time, POW forces the miners to cooperate, which is bad for individuals, but good for the whole network as a whole. Forcing the pooling of the computing capacities of the miners forms around the world, and their organization in pools allows the entire network to occur graded order lines. Without losing the centralization, let the pools act at the program level as unfilled computing power. It means physically farms can have a completely different geography. It also simplifies the process of maintaining and developing a block project. So for the adoption of the certain changes in technology, the consent of the majority of participants is necessary. Pools can make decisions collectively within their own structure, which makes life easier for developers. In addition, proof of work ensures the security of the entire network at a sufficient level. All the blocks computed by the miners are assembled in one chain, the block house. Each new block contains a record of the previous one. In theory, someone can create another branch of the chain, but for this in the system, adhering as a POW, it's necessary to repeat all the calculation made from the very beginning. Given the current level of development of the system of major cryptographic currency, this is unlikely. At first glance, POW may seem barbaric. Its biggest disadvantage in the proof of work with the complexity of computation includes from the ecosystem such elements as private miners with personal computers. And using Bitcoins is an example when PCs simply became scarce, enthusiasts began to collect home farms, and as computing units use several game video cards, which are more suitable for mining, manipulating as the kinds of CPUs than for central process. So the decision was short-lived, and as a result, specialized hardware platform with their own logic adapted specifically for the mining of the same bitcoins appeared on the market. Is this specialized ASIC equipment, which is no longer suitable for any other purpose than decrypting the cryptographic key of the unit. Is not used by a variety of industrial firms around the world. However, this doesn't mean that millions of firms based on video cards have gone to the dump. Now they are used in block systems with less complexity, where the use is even more profitable than expensive ingredient circulate ASICs. Ended farms from video cards could be placed under a table or in a cabinet. Industrial farms based on ACIS solutions and comparable in size to data centers and consume the appropriate amount of electricity. So by 2020, the same amount of electricity will be spent for mining bitcoins per year as all Denmark consumes. Denmark, I mean country Denmark. All equipment used in mining is heated very much, and excess heat is thrown into the atmosphere. Now the mining of cryptocurrency tokens by the proof of work principle is similar to the primitive gold mining. Huge amounts go to purchase special equipment and electricity. In the long term, the profitability of mining farms can be increased by transferring them to Iceland and the pools, or in the desert, for example, to the Sahara desert. In the first case, this will reduce the cost of cooling equipment, and in the second, on electricity due to solar panels. So the discussion of the miners about moving to the North Pole or to Antarctica may well become a thought necessary, how according to statistic on the main page of the portal. At the same time, the total description rate has already fallen to 6.29 units hour worldwide. This result is a problem that sets up progressive miners against the use of proof of work damage to the environment. That is why the blockchain community, which took up the idea of developing the cryptocurrency, created other models of the world for the miners, proof of capacity, and proof of stake with its subset. Proof of capacity not gained enough popularity. Also, it is based on a more human process than computation. For the mining of crypto and graphic tokens produced by the POC principle, as the network member needs to provide not the computing power, but the storage space on hard or any other disk. But proof of stake or proof of possession is considered as one of the viable alternatives used in BTC proof of work. So proof of stake as alternative to proof of work. So it's a question. So for the first time, proof of stake started talking at the Bitcoin Talk profile forum back in 2011. Proof of stake or ownership confirmation is considered a tool that can be used both with POW and completely independent of the costly process of classic mining. The proof of stake paradigm is built around the volume of the cryptocurrency on a particular wallet or peer's pool. This and another volume of calculation performed, as in the case of proof of work, is a determined factor of recording in the next block of the circuit. Proof of stakes has always advantages over proof of work. Don't need titanic efforts and expense for mining cryptographic tokens. So proof of stakes is a more civilized version of production, which has more in common with modern financial instruments and institutions dealing with the issue of currencies and proof of work, which is more like mining. And of course, in the cryptocurrency mining, there is an element of randomness, and this rule also works for proof of stake. The amount of coins I mean, stored on the purse only increase the chances of getting new ones, but doesn't guarantee that the most rich participant will receive the reward for the next block. So, on the other hand, the proof of stake paradigm itself treated as the basis of the blockchain laid down in the 2008 Manifesto Decentralization. This model could theoretically encourage someone to concentrate 51% of the coins in their hands in order to establish a dictate within the framework of the detachment. Such a share will allow the individual to manage the project and make decisions bypassing other participants, for instance, to conduct attack. But that is only a theory, since without a centralized community of cryptocurrency, it doesn't make sense and loses its stability. Thus, the activity will primarily harm himself, as he will be the holder of the greatest number of coins. So, proof of stake is expected to be criticized, of course, including objective if the case of proof of work cryptographic tokens are provided at a minimum cost for their production, the cost of equipment and electricity, I mean. Then tokens obtained by the principle of a proof of stake and deprived of this and secured by them and for themselves. Also in proof of stake, there are problems with the security of the entire chain of blockchain, and an attacker can start building a new chain of blocks to obtain a solid share, and after reaching a level higher than the main branch, the entire network will switch to an alternative one. And the mechanism of proof of stake allows you to immediately mine both branches of the block, main and alternative, increasing the potential profit because the process of mining doesn't cost anything. In proof of work, only one branch can be mined, which is determined. So with all these flows, both saw the light. The first project using the mining mechanism was PP coin, now called Peer coin. Later, this approach has its own there. For example, DPoS, delegated confirmation of ownership, and LPoS, leasing confirmation of ownership. In the first case, the miners who make entries in the block are selected randomly and constantly replaced in the second. A leasing system is used when the participant of the system provides the balance of his wallet to another participant in exchange for small dividends. So the most famous project using LPoS mechanics in the Waves block platforms. The number of miners in the Waves network is strictly limited, but the rest of the participants can give them their coins by model pools in proof-of-work projects to increase the change of decryption of the block. In exchange, the pool members receive about 1% per month from the amount of funds they provided. Such a mechanism allows for more even distribution of extracted coins compared to convenient POS networks, where the lion's share of the profits go to the participants with the largest balances. So, what's the prospects of blockchain technology in the economy? So the cryptocurrency tokens of any block house are considered now primarily as a payment instrument that is outside the jurisdiction of the world states. Some countries are going to legalize existing tokens, others are planning to start issuing their own coins. To purchase equipment of sufficient capacity for efficient mining of Bitcoins, it will take 100,000 or more. At the same time, the cost of electricity and the stability of the exchange play an important role. In the case of Ethereum, we are talking about investments that are an order of magnitude smaller. For the cryptographic token of the type from $10,000 of starting capital will be required. Mining in the context of block projects has always been considered only as a way to achieve the goal. But the mechanism and ideas developed for the use in the field of detachment is much more important for society. And it's not a fundamentally new way of calculating. So I think the production of tokens, including through pools, has shown the consistency of the model of centralization and collective self-government. And this opens new horizons for the entire technology area. The existing paradigm of using software, devices, and services implies computing centers nodes. Points potentially vulnerable to external surgery. Now mining by the proof of work model is simply a calculation that doesn't have a specific application aspect of decoding blocks. However, the blockchain activists are actively working for ensure the technology of transport decentralization computing breaks beyond the production of cryptocurrency. Now the authors of many projects are actively developing systems and services used in the banking, economic, medical, and even service industries. But at the same time, they will have strong qualities of the blockchain, such as centralization, transparency, high level of security. The most obvious application of blockchain technology is the foreseeable future is interbank transfer and internal payment systems. I think in the future, decentralized crypto systems whose ancestor will be cryptographic tokens based on the blockchain can become an integral part of cloud internal services, software, health system, and even logistics. So it's was the basic information of cryptocurrency mining. It's main of information for proof of work, for proof of stake. Of course, further we will talk about more difficult things for mining. Yes, if we want. So, guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I see you on Thursday, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So to do this, you should click subscribe below the video. Bye. See you on Thursday.